What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Teej pack. Teej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Teej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Teej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Teej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a Dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Teej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a Dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Teej pack. Feel the Teej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels, and it is Wednesday, September 20th, 2023, year of our Lord. And I am very excited to be kicking it with you here today, here from Dallas. So I'm out here in Dallas, slow motion, running it up, making sure that we take care of business. We on a solo mission. So we got to take care of the business. We got to be on top of things. Hey, who is up here saying that Anton is acting like a blackity black being all late? Come on now. Come on. I'm in a whole nother time zone. You know what? It's no excuse for me to be acting like a blackity black being all late in that. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started with the show because I have a full show lined up for you today. It's some things that we may get to, some things that we may not get to, depending on where it is that we at in the conversation or the live stream. So I just want to go ahead and get a check in the chat to see where y'all at. Since I'm over in Dallas, right, I'm usually in the studio in Detroit. I feel like I haven't been in my studio for an extended period of time. I'm out here in Dallas taking care of business. Let me know in the chat where you at, where you from. Well, not where you from. I just want to know where you at. Where are you currently at right now? Somebody in the chat, let me know where you at. One word. Well, you may have 2 words in a city. But give me an idea of where you at in the chat. I'm curious. Where y'all at? Where y'all working at? Where y'all chilling at? Some of y'all may be laid off. Some of y'all may be a part of the strike. I don't know what's going on. I see San Antonio is in the chat. Y'all are some wild boys. Dallas is in the bill. What up, Dallas? Kensington Avenue. Damon said Kensington Avenue. Delaware. Mark Covington is over on Facebook in Detroit. Shout out to my Facebook friends. DMV, Detroit, my baby. Shout out to Miss Lady J. Delaware, San Diego, Atlanta, Georgia, Houston, Wilson, North Carolina, Toronto, Dallas, Work Lunch, Charlotte, Work, North Dakota. Shout out to North Dakota. You must be working in the financial industry. right where I'm supposed to be: Miami, Dallas, downtown Detroit, Sacramento, Dallas, Wichita, Kansas, Columbia, South Carolina, Richmond, London. Shout out to my Londoners out there. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Jacksonville, at the dentist. Shout out to my people at the dentist listening to me in their AirPods. Turks and Caicos, I'd love to be there. At work, Fort Meade, Maryland, Albuquerque, on the line. Shout out to Brittany B. Baton Rouge, ATL, Dade County. Peace up, A-Town down. In Dallas, about to go to work and run that bag up. Austin, Bay Area, Park Forest, Illinois, in the hood, Fort Lauderdale. Charlotte, Toronto, Sugar Land, Texas, Indianapolis, Rio Rancho, New Mexico. Shout out to my New Mexicans. OKC, Ohio, CDL driving. Yo, Anton, what up? Detroit, Virginia Beach, Naptown, Orlando, Richmond, Fayetteville, GA. Yeah. Lake Lanier. Okay, I see you out there. Elk Grove, California, trucking in Peoria. Nashville. Shout out to Nashville. Savannah, Killeen, Texas. Bermuda. Tampa, Shreveport, Van Nuys, Norristown, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Baltimore, Vero Beach, Pearland, Texas, Orlando, Covington, GA, Philadelphia, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, OKC, South Africa. Shout out to Durban, South Africa. We got my South Africans in the building. Detroit. I see y'all. I see everybody running it up. All right, so listen, let's have a really good show today. You know what I want to start doing, honestly, that I was really thinking about? I was thinking about starting to open up the live stream a little bit more for people that disagree with me. Because I really liked having conversations with y'all on Thursday and Friday. And so I've largely reduced the amount of time that I spend opening it up because I have so much information that I have to give over to y'all. But I'm thinking about starting to open it up at the end of the show for some of y'all, for maybe one or two people here and there, to be able to tap in and give me their thoughts on something that they may disagree with. Because I'm always looking for people that disagree with me, because that allows for me to learn. I'm never trying to be in a space where everybody agree with 100% of what I say. These shows is not meant for just me to tell you what's going on and to give you insight on how you can level up. But it's also an opportunity for us to learn together. Maybe it's something that you know that gives me some insider information on what's going on in a particular industry that allows for me to make a more informed decision, and vice versa, right? I'm giving y'all all this information, but y'all not giving me this information. So I'm thinking about opening it up. I'm thinking about switching it up, maybe open it up, allocate 15, 20 minutes towards the end of the show to let y'all come up here and express y'all thoughts. What y'all think about that? Y'all let me know about that in the chat, and let me know if y'all think that that's a great idea. All right, let me read a Cash App. Shout out to Mike, that dude holding me down on Cash App. Mike, that dude deserves a round of applause. Mike been holding me down for a long time. Shout out to y'all. Also, on top of that, I want to give a shout out to P. Shank, which was my first super chat of the day. Said, good morning, Anton, no excuses. In St. Louis, working from home. Shout out to St. Louis. I appreciate y'all. All right, so this is what we gonna do. Terry said, is saving money stupid like all of these YouTubers claiming that it is? Well, that's the context. It's context that matters. So you never listen to something and you say, oh, okay, they're saying saving money is stupid. That's like somebody saying, oh man, using credit cards is stupid. Now, using credit cards is dumb for 99% of the population that don't understand how to leverage cards in order to make more money or use the points, and then also is not incentivized to spend more than they normally would if they were only spending with cash or a debit card, right? Credit cards can be a very powerful tool, not just for leveraging it for the perks that come along with it, but also you need a credit card in order to even be able to reserve, right? You need a credit card in order to be able to reserve a rental car or to get a hotel room, right? You got to have one, right? So for most people, the context matters and you have to provide the understanding. But for the rest of the general population, yes, it is a bad idea to hold on to cash because you're not saving money. Does not allow for you to beat the rate of inflation, even if you get into what they call a high yield savings account. High yield savings accounts are nothing more than an opportunity for the bank to hold on to your money so that they can lend it out based off of the multiples and then be able to make money on the interest of your money. You want your money working for you on a regular basis. So even for somebody like me, right, I don't save money, I deploy capital. And then I know how to get a hold of money when I need to make an investment, right? I could liquidate my position in this. I could tap into a reserve over here. I know that I'm building houses. So for every house that I'm building, I usually have somewhere between $75,000 and $100,000 per house available on demand in cash, because I never know. Like, I got the excavation crew coming in end of this week, early next week, in order to start the build of one particular property, right? So it just depends on your lifestyle. It depends on what you're trying to solve for. But there's no one size fits all solution. So when you're listening to YouTubers, it's not that they're wrong or they're right. It depends on the context. And I think that even when you're coaching somebody, you have to be careful, because what's important is you have to take into consideration each and every individual situation so you can make a more informed decision. So it doesn't mean that it's bad. It doesn't mean that it's good. It depends on your circumstance by which you have to deploy that capital in order to make sure that you're at least beating the rate of inflation or you're increasing your assets. The real question that you should be asking yourself is, am I making the most of the resources that I have? Because it's not just about how much money you make, it's about how much money you keep and how much money you can build upon and reduce your tax burden. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Again, make sure that y'all tap into the Patreon. If you are not a part of the Patreon, do not sit here and ask me questions about how it is that you can be able to get your business funded, that you can level up and get certain information. How can you get a seat at the table? If you're not even in the Patreon, what are we talking about? You didn't even make the first step in order to do the thing that's in your best interest going forward. And then if you're a part of the Patreon, make sure that you going through the videos, and not just the videos that's the interviews, but the videos with the game in it. And then B, I also want you to tap into the Discord. The link to the Discord is in any of the descriptions of any of the most recent posts that I put inside of the Patreon. I got a Patreon exclusive video coming up this weekend, and it's going to be absolutely awesome. We done editing it. Also, let me do a couple more things for housekeeping, and then we're going to get into the show. Shout out to Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. That Teach pack is in the description. Make sure that you get that Teach Hanley. Also, if you're looking to kick it with me tonight, Meeting of the Minds, I did put the link. It's not my event, but I'm going to be there. It's not my event. It's called the Meeting of the Minds. I'm going to be there tonight here in Dallas, so make sure you tap into that. That link is in the description if you're in Dallas. And then last but not least, I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to do a live stream tonight. You know, I usually do my live streams on Wednesday night where I have the one-on-ones and I talk about relationships and stuff like that. But if I'm not able to do the live stream because I'm at the event, I will have a video that I'm dropping for you guys. I might even drop the Erica Classy Climb, which I would usually drop that inside of the Patreon, but I might drop that for y'all on the Anton Daniels channel. So either way, we don't miss. We still dropping content that's going to help you become a better version of yourself. So make sure that you stay tapped in with that. Again, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also on top of that, Teach Hanley doing a show tonight here in Dallas. Meeting of the Minds. That link is in the description. And then I may or may not be doing a live stream tonight. Or if I do a live stream, it may be late. We might do a late live stream. That might be the move. I do plan on. I might do. I'm 90% sure I'm still gonna do the live stream tonight. It's just gonna be a late live stream. I'm 90%. Listen, I'm addicted to the grind. I don't know where y'all from. I don't know how y'all do things. I know that y'all comfortable with taking days off and stuff like that. That's not me. That's not my personality. I'm 90% sure I'm gonna do a live stream. It may be a modified version of it. I don't know if I'm gonna bring people up, but I'm like 90% sure. 91% sure, 92% sure I'm gonna be doing a live stream tonight. It just might be a late live stream. So whenever you know, I'm on a solo mission. I'm out here in Dallas. I got my security with me. We running it up. We're gonna take care of business. So yeah, let's get it popping. All right, let's go ahead and get into the show. Again, make sure y'all hit the like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. Torian Anthony says, good morning, Anton. From a C student's perspective, what's the first thing you should do with $9,000? Pay off your debt. If you got any credit card debt, pay it off. A lot of people like to say, oh man, should I invest or should I get out of debt? We already know what you're paying in interest as a result of the debt that you have. So if you have any consumer debt, you got any student loans, get up out of it, especially if you got a high interest rate on your car, or you have credit card debt, or you have some form of a loan. You got to get that up out of your name because it is killing your wealth. Reduce your lifestyle. If you got $9,000 in debt, I'm getting rid of the consumer debt. That's the first thing that I'm gonna do if I'm just sitting on 9 bands and I haven't paid off that. So that's what I would do personally. Shout out to Tori and Anthony. I appreciate that. Enos Luby says, money motivation. Best thing I heard today was no. Today's no was a punch in the gut, but it's crazy how much it motivated me. After the no, it widened my view, showing me so many ways to pivot forward. You know what's so interesting about that? Thank you for the super chat. The no's is the thing that's propelled me forward. I hate to say it, but in a lot of ways, I've been negatively motivated by the things that people, A, either told me that I couldn't do, or B, the no's that I got as a result of trying to do things that was outside of the norm. That's why I got this YouTube channel today, because it's people that told me that I wouldn't be successful. We coming for that 30 million. Shout out to Enos Luby. I appreciate you for the Super Bowl. Thank you, my friend. I'm going to be reading super chats throughout the show. I do not ask for them. I do ask for likes for the YouTube algorithm and the Facebook algorithm. We will be streaming on Rumble this week also, as promised. But I do show y'all appreciation, and I got to acknowledge every single super chat that comes through just because I appreciate you guys supporting the channel. So let's go ahead and get popping. We are cooking up on a Wednesday. It seemed like the week is already going fast, but we got a lot to get through. We have a whole lot to get through. I want to talk about inflation. I want to talk about CEO pay and the pay gap and how we need to be starting to look at things from a business perspective as far as what the workers make versus what the total compensation packages are of executives and people that's in the C-suite. I want to go over that. If we have time, I do want to go over the new Disney deal. So Disney got something on the horizon. I want to go over that. I want to go over the migrant crisis because we need to be paying attention to certain things that's being communicated, especially from Eric Adams. And I want to go over the budget of how they're allocating monies for the migrant crisis over in Chicago, because we know that regardless of the story that we talk about on the Millionaire Morning Show, everything comes back to the money. But before we get into that, the first thing that I want to talk about is this. We got to get our households in order. We got to get our children in order. We got to stop having kids out of wedlock. We got to stop creating monsters. We got to stop doing the thing that's the worst for our community and then starting to blame it on black men or blaming it on black women or blaming it on a community as a whole. First, you got to get the beam out of your own eye before you start to hold people accountable. That's the number one reason and the number one thing that I have a problem with when I see content creators. One of the reasons why people hate me so much, well, I'm not going to say a lot of people, because I think that the majority of the people love me. One of the reasons why some people may dislike me a lot is because when I talk, it's very, very hard for them to pick holes in the person. So here's the strategy a lot of times that come along with accountability. Instead of attacking the point, which is the thing that I advocate for people to do, they attack the person, right? Cool, I get it. We need to vet the people that's giving us the information so that we know if we're getting the right information, right? You want to know that your pastor is not necessarily busting down or touching anybody inside of the congregation before he sit here and give you a message on how it is that you need to be advocating for salvation. Come to the front of the congregation, tarry before the Lord, right? You want to know that somebody actually has built a business from scratch, right? Wins, losses, what are their failures, what are their successes, how did they overcome, before they start to give you information on how it is that you can build a business, because if you haven't executed it, why should I take advice from you? So we need to vet effectively, understand that. But when we start to deep dive into it, it's funny because that's the first thing people do. The first thing that you have to do is substantiate your argument. So you need to attack the point, right? Then you attack the point, you're attacking a point from a professional perspective, meaning that I'm going to take my own life experiences and the thing that I know and compare it against what you're saying. And then if I don't necessarily align with it, I'm trying to understand why you're saying it. So I need to understand why. Why are you the one telling me this, and what is your life experience? So I'm going to start deep diving into who you are, right? One of the things that I have a problem with Boyce Watkins, show me what you've built. Show me your bank account. Show me what it is that you have. Show me your real estate. Is the only thing that you've ever professed that you've invested in is the Tulsa real estate fund? You know what I'm saying? Show me this business acumen. Why are you not at the forefront of the movement as far as putting money in other people's pockets? Show me who you've invested in, right? And this is not about Boyce Watkins, but this is a point that I'm making in order to highlight a point, right? The first thing that we have to do is get the beam out of our own eye. And so the thing that I see people always talking about is the system. Systematic oppression, systematic racism, issues, problems, trouble, whose fault it is, blah, 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 blah. But very few people can look in their own household, in their own mirror, at their own kids and say, I'm holding it down. Most of the people that's pointing fingers at somebody else's kid, their kid is outside robbing, stealing. They don't even know where they was at last night, right? And it's funny because now we see a lot of this stuff coming to the forefront, but what we're starting to do is deep dive into why this happened in the first place, which is one of the reasons why I say fatherless homes. Who's creating the fatherless homes is an entirely different conversation. Fatherless homes is the number one issue of what we see happening in society, right? Let's go ahead and get into the show today. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm. It's very, very low. It's only at 25% of the people. You got over 1,000 people in here, and it's only at 25% of the people that's hit a like for the algorithm.
Shocking video appears to show teens intentionally plow a stolen car into an unsuspecting bicyclist in Las Vegas, killing him. Now, that victim has been identified as the former police chief of Bell, California.
Tonight, those teens are in custody and are both facing murder charges. Chris Wolf is live in the news center tonight with the latest. Chris.
Micah, MB, a shocking crime in Las Vegas, a viral video, and a California connection. Both teenagers are now in custody, and prosecutors want to charge them as adults. Ready? Yeah. The viral video, which surfaced on social media, shows a driver and his passenger intentionally ramming a bicyclist in Las Vegas on August 14th.
When y'all send me these videos, I have no clue what it is that I'm about to play. No clue of what it is that yo, this is wild. That's somebody's father. That's somebody's husband. That's somebody's child. That's somebody's boss. What the hell is happening in social media and in the world today? So y'all out here intentionally running over people, recording it on the live. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Shout out to Chris. Y'all living life like it's a video game. What is wrong with these people? Hold on. First of all, you know what they look like. I hate to say it. I hate to have this conversation with y'all. It's unfortunate, but you know what they look like. Don't y'all know, and I don't even want to say this because I want y'all to record yourselves doing dumb stuff so that we can report y'all and get y'all and put in jail. Don't y'all know that everything that you put on your phone is location specific, it's encrypted, it's basically giving you tags or it's giving the local authority tags as to where you are at that particular. When you turn on your cell phone, right? When you got on your Apple Watch, when you take this device, right? Don't you know that every cell phone tower and every satellite is pinging your location at a regular. So when you go out and you do stuff, even if you don't think that you put a mask on and stuff like that, don't you know that we still know that it's you? That they don't even have to do no legwork as far as trying to investigate what was going on. All they have to do is pull up who was where and where they was moving through specific cell tower locations in order to understand who you were, where you were, and what you was doing. Haven't y'all ever watched The Wire? This is crazy. This is crazy that it's two people in the car, a passenger, a driver, and neither one of them had good enough sense to say, hey, what you doing, fam? What you doing? Nobody had the sense to actually stop and say, yo, you can't be hitting people on the bike.
Detectives say the car is stolen. The footage is too graphic to reveal in its entirety, but the recording shows the cyclist fly off his bike and slam to the ground.
Knocked out! Get out of here.
Authorities say the video helped them make not one but two arrests in the deadly hit and run.
A cowardly act that in my 22 years of law enforcement left me personally appalled.
The victim, who did not survive his injuries, was later identified as 64-year-old Andy Probst, the former police chief of Bell, California. He was biking around 6 a.m. when he was fatally hit. Following tips, police in Vegas initially arrested a 17-year-old boy they identify as the driver. He has a criminal history, according to other media outlets.
How do you have a criminal history and you only 17 years old? And then y'all be sitting here talking about, oh, they just kids, you can't throw their whole life away. They just randomly selected somebody that they wanted to run over and hit on the side of the road. Yo, you are a demon. I'm telling y'all, listen, I know y'all don't want to believe it. I know it's very difficult for y'all to have this conversation, but there are demonic spirits that is taking over people and causing them to have no kind of empathy, no kind of cause for concern for what is going to happen to somebody. They will take your life without even thinking and blinking twice about it. That's why it's so scary out here, because listen, they don't just take your stuff. They're not just going to rob you. They're not just going to come in your house and take your stuff. They're going to take you out with no regard for your life. Didn't make anything from it. Didn't get anything but a few followers on Instagram or TikTok or whatever live they was on. And now they got to spend the rest of their lives in jail, because I would advocate for not only these people to spend the rest of their lives in jail. Man, listen, I'm the type of person that would advocate for the penalty. I'm an advocate for the penalty. This is disrespectful on the highest level to a civilized society and people that obey the law, go to work every day, work 30 years in order to be able to retire. He probably was putting money into his 401k, had a pension. He probably got people that's dependent on him. And you got two knuckleheads driving down the street, knocking him over, have no regard for him, took his life, and then they just gonna keep on riding with their ski mask on like everything is cool. Who are the parents is what I'm interested in finding out. I don't just care about charging the kids, because they're not kids to me. Them is monsters. I don't just care about charging the monsters. I'm curious. I think that we need to start doing a deeper dive to better understand who are the people that are raising these kids. And that's not necessarily saying that the parents should be held accountable, because you can get a bad apple or whatever, but I need to understand. Do they have more kids that they raising? Is it more monsters that's on the horizon? Who are the parents of these people that's driving around and doing this egregious stuff to these other people? That's crazy, man.
Tuesday, authorities announced the arrest of a second teenager they identify as the passenger. And prosecutors want to move both murder suspects into the adult system.
In the criminal justice system, if you are a minor and you are eligible to be charged with the crime of murder, you are automatically sent to the adult system. I am confident that that is what is going to happen in this case.
And you know, listen, one thing that they don't play with is police officers and former police officers and police chiefs. You thought that you was going to go out here and do something. They not messing around with you. Listen, whatever it is that they can figure out how to deal with you in the worst possible way, that is the way that they're going to deal with you. I'm surprised that these dudes is still alive. I'm surprised that they made it to get arrested in the first place.
Andy's life was robbed by two individuals who did not believe.
That's his daughter. That's his daughter. That's crazy. You wake up and you find out, oh man, your father had an accident. Oh, what was the accident? Somebody just randomly selected him to run over him and hit him off of his bike.
Lives of others matter. We believe that Andy's murder is a direct result of society's decayed family values and the strong effects that social media has on our youth. We as a family in no way feel that Andy's murder was based on race or profession. It was a random act of violence.
According to reports, the hit-and-run victim, Andy Probst, spent 35 years in law enforcement before retiring from police work in 2009 and then moving into another job in global security.
Can you imagine? Think about it like this. Can you imagine you dodging bullets, the possibility of survival, right? We know that police officers have amongst some of the highest divorce rates in the country. Think about this for a minute. Let's put it in perspective. You worked 35 years with the possibility of never coming home at night. I know some police officers. I coach some of the people that are police officers. And one of the things that they tell me is that their spouse, is so difficult for them to stay married, and their spouse have to pray over them every single night before they go out to work, because they never know if they're going to come home. That's one of the expectations. That's one of the things that they tell you. Listen, it's a possibility you won't come home tomorrow from serving your community. You underpaid, overworked, you dodged bullets for the last 35 years and the possibility of dying, only for two knuckleheads to get on social media and run you over on your bike when you retired and you thought that you was going to live the rest of your life out in bliss. That's crazy, man. To know that you were able to survive 35 years as a police officer or on the police force, only to be destroyed by a Ford Focus RS stolen and some mass dudes that's trying to hit you and didn't care anything about your life, all because they wanted clout on social media. Meanwhile, on the other side of the country, this is what's happening.
We will not rest until those responsible for this tragedy are brought to justice.
Romeoville police revealing new details on the mysterious murders of two young boys and their parents.
It's been 48 hours since the bodies of the family were discovered inside their home. Police believe they were targeted.
Casey Cronus is live with the latest. Casey.
Dawn and Scott, so many questions remain tonight about who killed that young family, one that neighbors describe as quiet and friendly, and why. Plus, no word on whether or not police have zeroed in on any suspects. As investigators sort through what police are calling a tremendous amount of physical evidence.
This incident is the police department's top priority.
A festive sign hangs on the door of a family that won't be here to celebrate the change of seasons.
Our entire community is grieving with the family over this tragic incident. It is always heartbreaking whenever there is a loss of life, but when children are involved, it's much more painful.
So, let me give you the summary, the skinny, right? Somebody came in over in Romeoville, right? Romeoville is outside of Chicago, so it's in Illinois. Quiet community, quiet town, regular couple, 38, 32, with two kids, two boys, and 3 dogs. And somebody came in, shot the husband, shot the wife, shot the kids, and executed all 3 dogs. That's what you see happening in society today.
Police now say evidence confirms the attack was not random. 38-year-old Alberto Rolone, 32-year-old Zoraida Bartolome, and their children, who relatives have identified as 10-year-old Adriel and 7-year-old Diego, were shot and killed, along with the family's 3 dogs.
With them having 2 little kids and everything, it seems unreal.
Now, this is not something that we've seen and can expect to happen in society, right? Let's really put it in perspective, right? Let's rewind this for a second. 38-year-old man looked like he worked for Geek Squad. 32-year-old woman, quiet. All of them moved into that. You can see they went to the zoo. 2 boys, 3 dogs. Here's my question. What was they into? What were they into? Because the police already confirmed that this was not random, that this was targeted. Listen, if somebody comes in and they take out the 3 dogs and the 2 boys, something is up. Something else is happening. Somebody owed somebody some money. Somebody messed up something on the other end of the spectrum. Somebody is out here fumbling the bag, and somebody got to pay for that. Look. If I had to guess, if I had to hypothetically guess about what's going on, it's always coming back to the money. It always comes back to the money. At the end of the day, whatever is happening in this society, most of the time, 98, 99% of the time, it came back to the money. Somebody gambling, somebody messed up the bag, somebody messed up the drop, something. You presented yourself, you had the perfect front, you moved in, wife, 3 kids, 2 dogs, 3 dogs, you got the perfect life. Somebody fumbled the bag. Somebody got executed as a result of it.
Were shot and killed, along with the family's 3 dogs.
With them having 2 little kids and everything, it seems unreal.
Community member Samantha Allen has 2 daughters, her heart calling her to the scene to light a candle and hope that those responsible are caught.
They're sick and they just don't have a heart.
Hearts of the family now shattered as the description of a GoFundMe account reads, "The world is going to be a much dimmer place without them."
I don't know about that. I don't necessarily know about that. We don't know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know.
Alberto Rolone, 32-year-old Zariah.
We don't know what we don't know. We got to get more information. Listen, let me say this, y'all. I'm going to just keep it 100 with you because I've seen a lot in my lifetime from some of the most unsuspecting people that I've ever seen in my life. 2 things. A, we got demonic spirits that's running around out here doing things. Actually, I'm going to give you 3 things. Demonic spirits is running around out here doing things and taking over, the minds of people and putting them in positions that they're not supposed to be in. That's number 1. Number 2, you don't know what these people be into. So before you start jumping into the mire and you start doing stuff that you're not supposed to do and doing all of that, let the investigation play out. And then number 3, stop donating to people's GoFundMes when you don't really even know what happened in the first place. You don't know what these people was into. You don't know if they was innocent. You don't know if it was random. All we know that it was targeted. The police say it wasn't random, but you have no clue what these people was into or why somebody put themselves at it. It could be a scorned lover. She could have been over there cheating. Not saying that she was, but it could have been anything. We don't know. He could have been into some stuff on the back end. Y'all so quick to feel a certain type of way and let y'all emotions start to play on your whatever, and you start to go and give your hard-earned dollars over to a GoFundMe. Let it play out. Let's see what happened. But one thing is for sure, and 2 things is for certain, is wild out here. Protect yourself. Be very, very careful. Stay out of the purview of different people. You don't know what they into. Make sure that you vet people for their character and pay attention to them and pay attention to the signs before you start to make them your friends. Don't align yourself with them. Don't be over nobody else's house that you don't know, all of this stuff. Be very, 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 very careful. Flat out. Be very, very careful. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats and then we're going to get it popping because we got a full show for y'all today. Greatness to Work is in the building. Says, if you have time, be sure to holler at me while you're here so I can show you what we spoke of last time while you were here. Glad you back. Hashtag family. Hashtag down 100. Shout out to Greatness to Work. I appreciate you for holding me down, my friend. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Chris James is in the building. Says, I like what you said about having $1 million child. That resonated. The question that y'all have to ask yourself is, where are you investing the majority of your resources? Is it in the people around you? Is it in your assets? Is it in things that's ultimately going to pay off and make you more money? Is it the things that's then going to pay off as far as who it is that you brought into this world, the people that's overly dependent on you? I like to invest in my people. I invest in my daughter. I invest in the people that work for me, right? I also invest in my assets. So everything that we plowing money into, it has to provide some inherent value. Shout out to you, Chris James. I appreciate you for the super chat. Jamal Fowler says, just passing through. Thank you for that 2-ball, my friend. It does not go unnoticed or unappreciated. Steven Slayer 1 says, single baby mamas breed these demons. I agree with that. We cannot keep having these single parent households because it's making the community even worse. KC, what up? KC said good morning. Good morning to you, my love. I appreciate you. Kai Laws just came through and dropped the fireball. Thank you, Kai Laws, for holding me down. I appreciate you. Jamal Parks came through with a couple of super chats. Says just passing through, but I tried your method of focusing on 4 to 5 hours in the morning from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. and got a ton of work done. Usually go to the gym then, but now I got to find a new time to go into the gym. One of the things that I tell people a lot of times, and this is why you can't take every meeting at work, this is why you can't be overly busy as far as segmenting your time. When you putting together your calendar, and a lot of people are familiar with this inside of the Patreon, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. When you tap into the Patreon, I teach you guys how to manage your calendar more effectively. It's not just about having a calendar, is managing the calendar more effectively. So you need to start blocking off your time at work, blocking off your time at home in order for you to have 2 and 3 hour blocks, 4 and 5 hour blocks for you to actually be able to work uninterrupted. Go off somewhere, go to a coffee shop, go into the office, go into your safe space. Stop allowing for yourself to be interrupted by phone calls. Have there be a time where you can actually get up, do some work, and be super productive, whether you're working on your business or you're preparing for the day, you're getting ready for corporate, you got something you got to prepare for. You will get 10 times more done than segmenting your time. A lot of y'all doing stuff every day, but you're not actually getting anything done. You'll go off, you go to a meeting, and then you got a half hour here, and then you go off to a meeting. You can't get anything done if you can't block off your time to be productive as possible. You know what I'm saying? So y'all got to be very, very careful with that. Shout out to Jamal Parks. Jamal also said, also much love to the Chasers. Got to go back to work. God first. Shout out to you, my friend. Spacer says 35 years to be run down in 8 seconds by demons. That's crazy to even think about. You know what I'm saying? D. Morris is in the building, says, I highly recommend going to the Moxies in Uptown Dallas tonight. Going to Moxies in Uptown Dallas tonight. I've networked with good people there. Welcome to my hometown. Shout out to D. Morris. I appreciate you. But Anton going to be doing a show. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my girl, Yvette Marie. I appreciate you for coming through. Said love and support, big bro. Christian West is in the building, says, I was always taught, believe none of what you hear and half of what you see. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes you can believe it, sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't believe anything, even what you see or what you hear. You know what I'm saying? Cliff Williams says, not the kids, man. Look like informant aftermath. Could be thing. I know one thing, you're not just about to get my GoFundMe dollars just because I'm feeling a certain type of way about it. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all. Let's continue over with the show. Thank you for the super chats. I'm going to continue to read them throughout the show. Let's move over to the migrant crisis, right? I'm going to keep you guys updated. And let me tell you why this is so important to me. Because somebody sent me an email and they was mad that I was holding their hometown accountable, right? Y'all don't get mad when people hold individual people within your own community accountable. You ain't tripping if I was to go over there and do a whole expose on somebody that you don't necessarily like. You ain't tripping about Jeezy and Jenny Ma. You ain't flipping out when we start to hold people accountable that's for the community or the people that, you know what I'm saying, have conversations about our money. Shout out to Ash. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. But for some reason, y'all feel some type of way. And I don't know if you just got a vested interest in it or not. But you feel a way when people start to hold people accountable that is supposed to be working in your own best interest. The thing that you should be asking yourself is, why? None of us are really asking the right questions. I got stuff that I want to talk about that is so difficult for me to talk about. And it's not even just here on YouTube, right? Because I have these conversations and I leave clues for you guys, right? And the reasons why it's so important for me to leave clues for you guys is because I don't want to get done. And the higher you get, listen, it's easy to have these conversations when you ain't got no subscribers, when you ain't got no traction, when you just in a vacuum by yourself. They're not tripping off of you. When you start to get more visibility, the higher up we go, every day, on average, between Anton Daniels' channel and the Millionaire Morning channel, we're going up 20 to 25,000 subscribers a month. 20 to 25,000 subscribers a month. I just crossed 200,000 on the Anton Daniels channel. It's already at like 213, 215. Apparently, the Millionaire Morning Show is going to be crossing 200,000 probably this month. We're going up 20,000, 25,000 subscribers a month. So when you start to grow up a little bit more, I'm starting to notice certain things, right? And what I notice is that certain conversations, even if you put a name in, I did a video yesterday. I'm going to bring it back around. Let me rock for a minute. I did a video yesterday where I was going through the airport. I never said a cuss word. I never said anything out of order. I didn't say anything that would trigger the algorithm. I just put one person's name inside of the title, and it automatically flagged it for review. No monetization, flagged it for review. And it just so happened to be Russell Brand's name. Let me just go ahead and say it because it's Russell Brand, right? Now, Russell Brand has been demonetized, but Russell Brand is an actor / former actor that have now evolved to become a content creator that deals with specific issues within the industry and starting to break down the media and how money playing a role in it and everything, right? But Russell Brand has now been demonetized based off of accusations, right? So when we have these conversations, what I want you guys to start paying attention to is what are the clues that Anton is leaving? Because people are getting removed, demonetized, thrown in jail, all of these different things from things that's going on offline or things that they're doing on platforms that's not even on the platform that they're having a conversation about. And so when I have these conversations, I'm not going to say it to you directly. I want you to start asking yourself a question, right? And this is the last time that I'm going to do this, and I'm prefacing this before we start to get into this. I'm asking you a question. I want you to start asking yourself a question. Why? Why are our borders so open? Why are they allowing for immigrants? And when I say they, I'm talking about Congress, presidents, mayors, legislators, business people. I don't know the answer to it. I'm deep diving. Actually, I have some theories, but I'm unwilling to actually say that until I can get it in proof, because now that we get more visibility, we have to be more responsible with our platform, right? Why is this happening? Why are they, listen, they will fight you. They will fight you. And you will have to beg, steal, and kill, and you still will never get reparations. I know a lot of y'all, that reparations debate, you see how that died down? You see how nobody is talking about reparations all of a sudden? You see how that's not even an issue? But we have migrants coming on here on busloads. We have an infinite amount of resources that we're allocating over into the military and security of this nation. The biggest thing that we're budgeting for, if you look at the budget that's being proposed, that they're arguing over every single year, and they keep trying to hold up Congress and the Senate and the legislative branches and the president, and they arguing back and forth. We allocate more money, I mean more resources over into our military and our security and our armed forces than any other thing that we're funding inside of the United States of America. I could be off on a couple of different things, but it's an egregious amount of money. How are we not able to secure the borders of the country, but we're able to fight wars across the nation? So when we're looking at this, I don't want you to just look at it from the perspective of, okay, yes, we do need to hold Mayor Brandon Johnson accountable for what's going on over in Chicago. Yes, we need to hold our president accountable. Yes, we need to hold Eric Adams accountable. Yes, we need to hold all of these legislators accountable. Yes, we need to hold ourselves accountable for the people that we put into office. But the question that we have to ask ourselves is, how is this possible and why? Why? It makes no sense. If you explore this in every facet, in every which way that you can start to try to listen, I know I'm a C student. I'm not the sharpest knife in the box, but I have to just the way that my brain works is if I see a problem, I don't just attack the problem. I also have to understand why the problem exists. You know what I'm saying? If you see mosquitoes or bugs start to come into your crib, right? You want to know the source of it. If you start to see bees everywhere, where's the hive at? Why are the bees here in the first place? If you walk over into New York and you compare a rat problem over to the fact that they don't have a rodent problem over in Tokyo, I'm trying to understand why is this happening? You don't just solve for the rat problem. You got to understand why the rats came in there in the first place, right? And so that's what we asking ourselves. And it's leading us to no logical conclusion. And we all just in the dark and we just scratching our hands like this. And we like, listen, Chicago is $538 million over budget when it comes to this tent city. Why? New York is allocating resources and going into billions of dollars in debt and taking away from their citizens and also getting rid of corporate Airbnb. You can't even get an Airbnb in New York anymore. But they're able to allocate all of this money to house feed, give healthcare coverage, and do stuff to migrants that's coming into the country. How? Why? What is being communicated and what is happening behind the scenes to where we not in the know and we not paying attention somehow? Somehow we asleep at the wheel. I'm very much aware. I deep dive into this stuff. Listen, usually when I come on these live streams, very rarely am I very well researched. When I first started this, I started reacting to different things, and then I would use my own personal experiences and my own business acumen in order to try to solve for and give you guys the lesson as to how you can do things differently or how you can lean into this in order to become more successful. I've been deep diving into this like a madman. I've never been more vested in a subject than the things that I'm talking about on a regular basis. Why are they striking? Why do we got the migrant crisis? Why is crime so out of control? Why when you go over to Oakland, they still talking about defunding the police and they don't have any resources? Why are they spending more time towards the alphabet community and promoting those agendas than they are allocating for the homelessness problem and the crisis and the businesses that's literally leaving some of the biggest cities in the United States of America and then relocating? Why are we continuing to do this? Why are we putting ourselves under duress on purpose? And how do they continue to convince you to vote for them? Are they creating problems that they then have to solve for themselves and then they're making you interdependent on? I don't know. I have no clue whatsoever. But one thing I'll tell you, and two things is for certain, as we have these conversations, I need you guys to start deep diving a little bit more. Use your critical thinking skills and stop just looking at it on a surface level so that we can start to solve for and understand why you going to be sitting here having a conversation on TikTok and then I'm going to be reacting to you about how inflation is kicking your butt and now you're going homeless because you can't afford to fix your sump pump like the lady that was from the other day. Let's get into it.
Governor Hochul discussed New York's migrant crisis with President Biden yesterday in a conversation she called very productive.
Okay, meantime, on Staten Island, 10 people were arrested, taken into police custody because they were protesting a new migrant shelter at a former senior living facility on their borough. Briella Tomasetti has more from Midland Beach. I mean, things are starting to get a little disruptive in almost every borough. They don't want them there anymore.
Yeah, and in fact, Rosanna and Bianca, there is a police presence here this morning because those protests last night were so disruptive. Protesters got in front of a bus at one point, blocking it from entering that facility. As a reminder, the city is caring for nearly...
Look, let me tell you the ignorance. Kevin Williams says inflation has nothing to do with the president. Don't worry, I'm going to address that comment. I'm going to make sure that I personally address that comment. I'm going to start and I'm going to address that later on in the show.
60,000 migrants right now. Let's face it, that number is not expected to get smaller anytime soon. Now, Mayor Adams says that he has communicated with the White House about the urgency of the moment, but it's also clear that tensions are rising between the mayor and President Biden. The two did not cross paths yesterday, nor are they expected to today. So now all options are on the table. And yes, one of those options includes a new shelter here on Staten Island. More mayhem on Staten Island during yet another night of intense protests. Police from the NYPD's 122nd Precinct were called to Father Capodanno Boulevard for reports of crowd control issues after demonstrators blocked a city bus thought to be carrying asylum seekers. 10 people were taken into custody. 9 of them were given summonses for disorderly conduct, and the 10th person, a 48-year-old man, is still awaiting potential charges.
Think about this for a second, y'all. People are protesting, ruining their neighborhoods, and then migrant shelters being involuntarily, right? Meaning that it wasn't something that they voted for. It was never something that was a part of the presidential talking points, the mayoral talking points, the city council talking points. And so they're out there and they're saying, listen, we didn't sign up for this. We don't want this in our neighborhoods. We don't want what it is that y'all proposing that we have to subject ourselves to and that our kids have to walk by every day in order to get to school. And you know what the funniest part about it is? They are arresting people left and right. I remember during the pandemic where everybody was supposed to be 6 feet apart. I remember when businesses were trying to open in order to support themselves. And police officers, they were sending in police officers, our governors, our legislators, and the people that were in power, they were sending in police officers in order to arrest business owners for not staying 6 feet apart, right? For opening up businesses against the mandates that was required by the state at that particular time, depending on what state that you were in and what side of the fence they were on, as far as who it is that they wanted to be president and who they wanted to go into Congress and the Senate and all the legislative branches, right? But at the same time, I remember this like yesterday. See, I got a memory of an elephant. At the same time, there were protests all up and down every single major city. They were burning down the auto zones and the Wendy's. They were right next to each other. They were holding hands in solidarity. And all of these people, even the ones that got arrested, first of all, they told them to treat them with kid gloves. Secondly, they told them don't arrest nobody. And almost all of the people, especially in some of these cities that got arrested, they all got off and they all got their charges dropped as a result of it. Now, when you take that into consideration and you compare it, less than 2 to 3 years from there, smaller crowds, less of an issue, things that's more meaningful to what's going to happen in your community. People are peacefully protesting and they arresting people left and right. You can go out there, stand on a car, destroy anything you want over in Illinois and in Chicago, right? And they call them large gatherings. They don't call them riots. They don't call them mobs. You can go over and rob and take everything out of the store in Nordstrom's and shut down what's going on over in San Francisco. But if you peacefully protest inside of your own city about something that you didn't even know was popping up, but they automatically starting to create migrant shelters over there, they arresting you left and right and they charging you immediately. Now, when we start to have this conversation, right? Because again, we gonna hold Eric Adams accountable. We gonna hold all of these different people accountable, right? When we start to have this conversation, when you compare the two, does it make sense is what I'm asking you. Just surface level. Does it make sense? They got more police officers out there than I seen during the protests, and they arresting you left and right for protesting what is going in your neighborhood that you pay taxes for that you never signed up for. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just telling you to ask yourself the question. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just telling you to ask yourself the question. As you use your context clues, ask yourself the questions. I can't draw the conclusions for you because I don't have the answers yet, Sway. And if I had the answers, I'm not sure that I could communicate it, Sway. Ask yourself the question.
What provoked these protests? Well, according to SILive.com, a former senior living facility in Midland Beach is the latest migrant shelter to open in the city. Plans to house asylum seekers on Staten Island have drawn fierce pushback from neighbors and lawmakers. Just last month, the borough was at the helm of the city's migrant crisis when St. John Villa Academy, a former Catholic school, was transformed into a 300-bed makeshift shelter. Mayor Adams has slammed the federal government for its lack of help on the issue and says New York City is carrying the weight of a national problem.
I'm very public. Everybody knows who I am. You guys know where I am all the time. We'll release if we're going to be with the president or not.
But
think about this, man. Listen. You know what I see when I see Eric Adams? A puppet. Y'all was fooled because of his background, because he represented y'all, because he was black. I don't see Umar Johnson having no conversation about Eric Adams. You know why? Because he's not equipped to even be able to talk about it. He over there talking about giving lashes to LeBron James and all of these issues that's not really real in our community, talking about all of this nonsense. Meanwhile, they're giving you your leaders and they're telling you you're going to vote them in because it's still a democracy. And at the same time, they saddling you with all of the residual effect that come along with them.
we'll release if we're going to be with the president or not.
Let's go into what Eric Adams is now saying, right? Let's deep dive into Eric Adams specifically because he's recently went live with the news in order to express his thoughts and his frustrations and first becoming a sanctuary city and allocating all of these resources. And now he wants to hold the president and White House accountable. Let's see what he has to say today.
Adams, I want to switch over to the migrant issue. You recently said that you haven't spoken to the president in months. This is his third and final day in the city here. But he is not meeting with you, and he's not even touring a migrant shelter. After all the city has done in the face of this migrant crisis, he cannot find 5 minutes to meet with you or even tour a shelter. Why do you think that is?
Well, we are in constant communication with the White House. The goal is to get the items that we have identified, and that includes decompression strategy at the border, receiving the funds.
Listen. Don't let them fool you. Don't let them fool you. Remember, Anton is your chief C student strategist, and I'm going to be the one that breaks this down so that you're not, listen, they're going to use the big words. They're going to say, we're going to use decompression strategies at the border. Translation, we needed to cut it off at the border, and what Trump was advocating for a long time, and the thing that you protested against, and the things that they stood against, all of these blue cities, until it started to hit their doorstep. Now we need to use these big words in order to go over it. Look how fast he said it. Let me replay it for you of what his speech was.
The items that we have identified, and that includes decompression strategy at the border, receiving the funding that we deserve.
That man said that so fast, he acted like it wasn't a comma that was supposed to go in between decompression strategy and it was a comma that was a run-on. I've never seen Eric Adams use a run-on sentence when it came to describing the things that they need to hold themselves accountable for, that they actually advocated against within the media in order to be able to secure your vote. Now he want to talk about decompression strategy at the border. And man, don't skip over it. Say it slow and use words that we can understand. No, we need to close off our borders to people that are coming into the country because we cannot afford to house them, clothe them, feed them, and also provide schooling for them. And all of the constituents in my city saying that they don't want this. That's what he really means. Don't sit there and hit me with no decompression strategy. No. Talk to me like a little child. Help me to understand, what do you mean by decompression strategy at the border?
Constant communication with the White House. The goal is to get the items that we have identified, and that includes decompression strategy at the border, receiving the funding that we deserve, calling a state of emergency, allowing people to work. No one should be in this city without the right and authorization to contribute to our tax base. So this is unfair to New Yorkers, and it's actually unfair to the migrants as well. No.
It's been unfair to Texans, Arizonans, New Mexicans, Louisianans, Floridians, Californians. It's been unfair for the entire time, but all of these different states are operating like they're their own countries. And don't sit here talking about what's unfair and fair, because listen, we remember, please don't make me pull up the footage again of Eric Adams tweeting that New York will always, and they will always take care of, and they are going to be a sanctuary city. Do not sit here and have that conversation with us now talking about you want to backtrack. This is backtracking at its finest because they don't want to hold themselves accountable.
No one should be going through this, particularly this city and other small municipalities.
Well, while the president may shy away from meeting you face to face, the White House does not shy away from skewering NYC in their response to the migrant crisis, saying that we allegedly have no exit strategy for migrants in shelters. But I know you're trying to change that from a 60-day ruling to now a 30-day ruling for the amount of days that migrants can be in shelters. And this is specific for maybe male migrants.
Well, everything is on the table. Let me say that. Everything is on the table.
Who is that lady next to him? Mayor, New York spends an average of $383 a day per migrant family. Y'all don't even spend that in your own households. Hey, let me ask y'all a question. If you start to do the math, if you look at what's at the bottom, according to what they're saying, right? New York spends an average of $383 a day per migrant family, right? Think about this like this, right? $300 a day equates to the equivalent of $9,000 a month. in a 30-day cycle. $300 a day. So you telling me that New York is spending close to $11,000-$12,000 a month per migrant family? Listen, that equates to the equivalent of like $140,000 a year per migrant family in total compensation. Most of y'all don't even make $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year in your salary, and you paying taxes out of that. Come on, man. Are we going to do the math? Or are we going to start? Y'all said that math didn't matter when y'all was in school. Oh, I'm not going to be able to use this anyway. $383 a day, equating to over $10,000 a month. More closer to $12,000 a month. Between $11,000 and $12,000 a month, if my C student mental math serves me correct. Between $11,000 and $12,000 a month is being allocated. They may as well just put the money in their pocket. If you telling me that that's the amount of money that it's costing in order to make sure that these migrants are taken care of and their family, that's insane. And this is your federal legislators. These are your city representatives. These are the people that didn't I tell y'all that it mattered more about what it is that you voted in the local elections than what happened in the national election? Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell your black ass that it meant more for you to vote in your local election and y'all wanted to have a 13% voter turnout rate, 8% voter turnout rate in y'all cities? Now y'all want to sit here and have a conversation about the migrant crisis?
You're dealing with the crises of managing over 110,000 migrant asylum seekers, in addition to 10,000 a month. We really need to wrap our heads around that. 10,000 a month. And we've witnessed that a substantial number have left our shelter system, but over 60, 70,000 are still there. It's just not moving at the right pace. But the question becomes, why aren't we stopping this at the source? And why aren't we dealing with this as a national crisis that it is?
So Mayor, the first recipients of that 60-day eviction notice have a deadline of this weekend. What happens to those people who are in the shelter system, who already have been notified your 60 days are up?
Well, we were clear they have to reapply, and based on...
Y'all got to give me a second. They got a lot of furniture moving outside of this house with the garbage trucks is out here apparently emptying the garbage can. They being real loud outside. You know what I'm saying?
Our availability of space.
Can y'all hear all that? That's the garbage truck. Jesus.
We will allow them back into one of our shelters or HERCs, but they will have to reapply.
But that sounds like you're not getting rid of or moving them on to somewhere else.
That's exactly what it is. They're not getting rid of them. They're putting in these false policies and these processes and procedures. And after 30 to 60, 90 days, they'll have to be able to reapply and all of this stuff. But they're not solving for the problem. Let's pivot for a minute, y'all. I want to pivot. Let's move over for a minute. Let's talk about Chicago. Let's bring Chicago back to the front of the congregation and let's have a conversation, because at the forefront of this movement is New York and Chicago. New York and Chicago decided that they wanted to be the poster children, right? Y'all wanted to be the poster child of, and isn't it ironic that these are the two financially, the biggest financial institution as far as the Chicago Exchange and the New York Stock Exchange, that y'all wanted to be at the forefront of being the blue city. You wanted to be at the forefront of being a migrant city. Neither one of y'all could solve for the issues that y'all already had within your own city. And they wanted to be the poster children. So let's really put it in perspective, because now we starting to break it down back from a financial, from a financial lens. And I'm going to be reading Super Chat shortly. I appreciate y'all. Let's break it down from a financial perspective as far as what these two poster children are dealing with. Now, we know that Chicago or New York, Eric Adams is saying, listen, we are spending the average of $383 per day for migrant families on an individual level. 383 times 365 is 104. I told you my mental math was right. I told you my mental math was right. $140,000 a year per migrant family. Some of y'all don't even make half that. And y'all sitting here having a conversation with me about what it takes in order to raise a family of 4. Some of y'all don't make this. Y'all don't make $140,000 a year. And they doing it and they don't even have to go to work for it. They get housing, shelter, heat, probably cell phones. Where the Obama phones, throw them in there, right? Housing, shelter, heat, healthcare coverage, food, and all they had to do was listen, it was a reason why that guy yesterday said, hey, man, I want to go over to New York. I want to go over to Chicago. He was talking to the border agent. He said, hey, you got a ride for me? And they get free transportation over there. They ain't got to hitchhike. They ain't got to do none of that. They get free buses over into their destination, and they getting $140,000 worth of services. You can't even get $600 a week from your unemployment if you get laid off your job. You don't even get $600 a week from unemployment if you laid off your job. It's over. It's over. Let's talk about Chicago.
WGN's Brona Tumulty has been digging into where and how that money is being divvied out. Brona?
Good evening, guys. Yeah, it's a multi-million-dollar question, more than $84 million, actually. That is how much has already been paid out on the migrant crisis here in Chicago, and those bills are piling up. It's a crisis that's dominated headlines almost daily. More than 13,500 asylum seekers pouring into the city since last August, with many sleeping on the floors of police.
I can't believe what I'm watching. You know, this just seems, I'm reading those super chats, Shirley. Thank y'all for supporting the platform. It just seems like this is a movie. This can't be real life. I did not grow up thinking that this was going to be the American dream. Never in 1,000 years did I think that we would have open borders. No kind of... let me continue. I'm going to just play the video.
Stations.
We are spending money hand over fist to assist these individuals, and yet we still have children, their parents, and the elderly sleeping on floors.
But millions of dollars are being forked over in aid, and we wanted to know where that money is being spent. A Freedom of Information request returned hundreds of invoices and a whopping $84.5 million already paid out since the buses started arriving.
Let's back up for a minute now. A lot of people don't understand that you can get, because this is public information, right? I know y'all spend all of y'all time trying to figure out who got divorced, and so you going over to the divorce filings in Atlanta and over in California and Calabasas. You trying to figure out, did Jeezy file for divorce? You want to know who filed for bankruptcy as far as their personal bankruptcy and all of that. Those are the really juicy Smoulier stories, right? All of this is public information. This is not a secret. It does not take heavy detective work for you to uncover what these numbers are, right? If you want to know what's being spent in your city on things that you don't agree with, all you have to do is request for it. It's the Freedom of Information Act, meaning that because they are public service, shout out to my dog Ash, I'm going to be reading those super chats shortly, because this is public information, it is not hard for you to go in and request this. And this is the amount of money that's already been paid out. And they're budgeting for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions more to be paid out as a result of being a sanctuary city for the migrant crisis.
The majority of that, more than $56 million, was paid to a company named Favorite Healthcare Staffing. Over $12 million went to another group, Equitable Social Solutions, which helps deal with housing and shelter. And
now, we starting to get down to the deep diving and the science of it all, right? Because what did I tell you? What did I tell you is that at the end of the conversation, somehow, some way, it comes back down to the money. This is just since August. Now, $56.7 million allocated to the Favorite Healthcare Staffing. What the hell is that? What is Favorite Healthcare Staffing? What do they do? Because remember, this is y'all money. Meaning you go to work every day And if you make $100,000 a year and you a single man or you a single strong black woman, you're going to take home $67,000 on average, depending on what state that you live in and what community that you serve. Meaning that the majority of your taxes and your tax dollars that's supposed to be going towards infrastructure, school, right? In order to make sure that we have public transportation, safety, police, fire, great response times, right? Also paying the salaries of the people that's instituting this for you. This is your money at work. So if you don't know who favorite healthcare staffing is over in Chicago, we got a problem. Who the hell is Lakeshore Hospitality and how come you've never heard of them before? Who are running Open Kitchens, the company? Who is SkyTech Enterprises and why did they get $500,000 last year? Equitable Social Solutions. What does that mean? What is Equitable Social Solutions that got $12.5 million last year? Who's at the forefront of these companies? Who works for them? Who bid on these contracts? When did they get paid out? How often do they submit invoices? Why are they spending this money on this in the first place? Is the money go? See, now we starting to get to the nitty gritty. Now we starting to get to the real. You don't know who's the head of favorite healthcare staffing. You have no clue who this person is. Ballin'. See, I'm in the wrong business. I'm sitting here cooking up for you every day on content creation and on YouTube and Facebook and moving over in the Rumble. And I'm over here trying to show you how to build real estate and building houses from scratch and all of this other type of stuff. All I got to do is go and bid on a government contract. Make sure y'all tap into Tam. She's a part of the Patreon and she's in the Discord helping y'all to get these government contracts on a regular basis. We rubbing shoulders with the wrong people. We friends. See, I shouldn't even be sitting here holding accountable to Mayor Brandon Johnson's and all of that. What I should be doing is rubbing shoulders with him in order to get some of this migrant money. How can I get the migrant money, Mr. Brandon Johnson? Who is Eric Adams spending all of these billions of dollars on, and why are they getting the money? Who are the heads of these companies, and why are we not? See, this is what we should really be doing conversations about. Fuck Jay Morrison. I'm sorry. I'm not cussing no more. Forget Jay Morrison, right? Small time. Caesar, I can care less about what's going on with DJ Envy. Means nothing to me whatsoever. Forget the Truff Real Estate Fund. Where's all of these billions of dollars going to and who own these companies and how come y'all not I might be saying too much. I might be getting myself in trouble. I don't want to mess up y'all money, Freaky Jason. I don't want to mess up y'all money, Freaky Jason. Listen, if y'all over here finessing, allegedly, I have no clue whatsoever. I'm just asking the questions. If we over here getting to the money and y'all getting to it, who am I to then say how it is that Chicagoans are supposed to spend their tax dollars in order to fund what's going on over at the migrant crisis? Who am I to say who can finesse y'all behind the scenes? Because guess what? They don't have no identity. They walking up to you like this. They not sitting here pitching black on black and none of this other type of stuff. You don't even know where your tax dollars is going. Nobody is asking who's at the forefront of these companies that's profiting so heavily from what's going on at the migrant crisis. These outsides, big, huge costs that's associated with it. Who is the companies that's building Tent City? What is going on? Do they look like you? Do they represent your interests? Do they even live in your community? You don't know. And you know why you don't know? Because you've never cared to ask the questions that's actually meaningful for how it is that they're allocating your money, because you got to pay that money no matter. See, Jay Morrison and them got to finesse you. They got to get sponsors. They got to get voice walk-ins. They got to get on the platform. They got to pitch you. They got to do all of this. I don't even care because I've never given to Jay Morrison. But guess what? If you live in Chicago, if you live in the United States of America, you giving over your tax dollars and you don't even know where you giving it. At least you know who bent you over and put that lube on you and then went ahead and gave you that ooh-op shebang. See, you know who did the finessing on you. At least I could put a face to it. You know what? If I'm a trick off, at least I know that it's the stripper that got chlamydia inside of the strip club that finessed me. I know what she looked like. At least she made it bounce, 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 bounce. You don't even know who you tricking off over there on the federal government, and you ain't even tripping about it. You have no clue who is finessing you out of your tax dollars. They take your money and they be like this. At least you can put a face to it. At least it's tricking if you got it, you can put a face to it. You got some Gawk 3000, something happened as a result of it. You don't have no clue who is finessing you and taking your tax dollars. Give me something for it. Give me something for it. Tell me that I could at least, but listen, don't just butter me up. At least bend over a little bit before we walk over there. At least speak to me before you over here finessing me. Give me something to go along with it, but nah, y'all just gonna take it. You taking it like a modern woman. You taking it like a woman that is on college campus for the first time, and she at a HBCU, and it's 1993, and she going straight to over to the Freaknik. That's you. You that modern woman over at the Freaknik, and guess who your pimp is? I'm gonna show you.
More than $500,000 was paid to Skytech Enterprises for security. But in addition to what's already been spent, we're told there's an additional estimated cost of more than $48 million in unpaid invoices, which would mean total estimated expenditures to date are somewhere in the region of $133 million.
It's abysmal, it's shameful, and it's sad that despite all of our best efforts and despite all the money we committed to throwing to help solve this issue brought to our doorstep by the federal government, this is the best that we have to offer.
Alderman Raymond Lopez weighing in on the situation today, telling us this problem is only going to get worse.
We have to stop playing for the moment and just addressing busload by busload and begin making preparations not only in our city but in this state to address the fact that we can very easily see upwards of 50,000 migrant asylum seekers sent to Chicago and Illinois in the next year.
The city.
So as I start to ask these questions,
$1 million in taxpayer money was allocated to the crisis back in May, which
y'all, listen, when we started this live stream today, the thing that I asked you to do is start asking yourself the questions. I can't answer them for you. I don't got the answers for it. I have my thoughts, I have my theories, I have the things that I believe is happening, but I can't answer the questions for you, Sway. I asked you to ask yourself the questions as we started to go through this live stream today. I need you to start paying attention.
Counts for about 38% of what's being spent, while we're told the balance, about 62%, is coming from grants.
Now let me give you the white lie, right? From grants is also monies allocated from taxpayers specifically for whatever it is that they're paying these companies for. What? We don't know. Who can say? Where they at? Have no idea whatsoever. All of this, 100% of the pie, 62% plus 38% equal 100% is coming out of the people. Monies. And you know whose money is coming from? It's not mine. No, it's not mine. I'm going to pay less in taxes than you will this year because I know how to look at things from a business perspective. I'm a bag chaser. I'm a Patreon member. Is it coming from the poor people? Absolutely not. They chilling. Slow motion. You know what I'm saying? You know who's this going to come out of? See, you keep paying attention to Oprah and complaining about her. You talking about The Rock. You so easily distracted and still over there begging for reparations while you paying for whoever these people are that's servicing people in your neighborhood who you don't even want there. Maybe, and this is just a theory, maybe there's a lot of different hands in, maybe there's a lot of different hands that have an incentive to continue to keep this thing going. I have no clue. I'm just taking a hypothesis. This is my educated guess. This is my hypothesis. Maybe it makes sense for you as a taxpayer to contribute. Let me be quiet. It's a lot of hands in the pot. Somebody getting rich. It ain't you. It ain't you. You ain't getting rich as a result of it. Let me be quiet. Let me be quiet because I don't want to upset the powers that be. I want to make sure that We all on the same page. I like my view. I like my view. I like what I got going on out here in Dallas. I like what's happening out here in Dallas. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I don't want to upset nobody. I ain't trying to upset nobody. We're going to get back to our regularly scheduled program. Let me read some of these super chats. Oh, my God. Hold on. Shout out to my dog, Ash. Ash says spent 5 tours deployed to the Middle East, Iraq, Afghanistan, Kuwait, etc. On the front lines outside the wire on convoy missions. After 23 years of service, I was very fortunate to have survived to see retirement. There was no way I was going to move back into Chicago. Let me give you another round of applause. Shout out to you. Shout out to my dog, Ash. I appreciate you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for continuing to contribute into the Millionaire Morning Show and supporting the platform. Thank you for being a bag chaser. And more importantly, thank you for the things that you've contributed so that we have the freedom to do what it is that we do in this country. I pray that before our last breath on this earth, that we start to see the things that we actually fought for and that we advocated for and that you put your life on the line for, because you deserve better than this. You deserve more than what you see happening over in Chicago. Congratulations for never going back there. Let me go ahead and continue over with these super chats. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Cliff Williams is in the building, says, Carlos holding up signs now and why? We need your jobs. We need your jobs, man. Shout out to you. I appreciate you, my friend. I'm Twan2 says, showing love, bro. Thank you for the fireball and holding me down, my friend. I appreciate you. Hold on. I'm going to get to that one shortly. David Simpson Jr. says the president has direct influence over inflation. Oh, we're going to get to that eventually. They either exasperate the issue or alleviate it. They can fix it alone. Can they fix it alone? No. That is a very good answer. Maybe I don't even have to address Kevin Williams' question over here. He said the president has nothing to do with inflation. You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong in every way, shape, and form. Thank you to David Simpson. I appreciate you. Terrell LMAO, and they got more influence than that. Terrell LMAO says, we're importing the next wave of cheap labor slaves. History repeats itself. See the naturalization of 3 million illegals by Reagan administration in the 80s. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Little Black Duck 2001 says, you're killing it, bro. Concerning NYC, what's the term for gentrification when it's Spanish folks taking over a neighborhood instead of white? I have no idea, but I'm just going to leave that there. Bag for Bag says, this is like a bad dream we can't wake up from. No, this is an intentional dream that's being input into you. Did y'all know that Elon Musk recently got approval and he's seeking people to actual human patients for Neuralink? We'll get into that later on in the week. Shout out to my dog Ash back in the building. ADY is called The Great Reset by Klaus Schwab and WEF. Agenda 2030, create crisis, intent collapse society, print money hyperinflation, create solution, more vax, force CBDC, Bible, buy no buy, no sell except Mark. Shout out to you, Ash. I appreciate y'all. Thank you guys for continuing to hold me down and contributing to the platform. I'm Twan2 says, be careful, Anton. The government don't like you exposing the truth to the people. They fear awakening the people. Yeah, it's more profitable to keep us asleep. It's more profitable to keep us asleep. Shout out to Love C says, Open Kitchens hires the lunch ladies for the school. Shout out to Open C. Here's the thing, though. See, I don't really care about who Open Kitchens is as far as who they hire. I'm trying to figure out who's at the top that's then incentivizing or possibly incentivizing or collecting the money or has a vested interest in seeing this continue to go through. That's what my question is. DJ Kane in the building says, how long are you in Dallas for? I emailed you. I am going to be in Dallas. I fly out Friday. So I got to do some stuff today. I got to do some stuff tomorrow, and then I fly out Friday. Shout out to my dog, DJ Kane. I appreciate you. Alex Tyson says, my theory is they're bringing in folks for a new voting block to replace black people since more and more are either switching to Republican or not voting at all. You know what I think? I think that there could be more than one reason why these things are happening and taking place. But let's continue over into the show. So, where shall Anton go next? We addressed the police issues, conspiracy theories. We addressed the migrant crisis. We addressed so many things that is happening within our society, but I want to address the main issue that a lot of the people want to have a conversation about. And what is it? It is called the pay gap. Now, what we see happening across the United States of America, and I broke it down to you guys from a C student's perspective about the mathematical issues that's facing us, right? How inflation continues to keep you poor, regardless of how much money that you win or you make. There's never going to be enough because, in a general sense, all of those costs are then passed over into the customer in the middle class, which is then basically a hidden tax to incentivize you to keep you in debt in order to make sure that we keep this machine rolling, baby. Yes, yes, yes. I'm going to break it down for you from a C student's perspective. We are going to do the work today. So the question that you ask yourself is, pay gap. How does CEO compensation or executive compensation work, right? I see so many people saying that they should start a business, or you need to get into the C-suite, or how it is that you're supposed to negotiate your salary. And so many different conversations are being had to keep the people asleep, especially UAW members. And they're looking at what happened over at UPS and the Teamsters negotiating. And now we're starting to see more and more layoffs at different plants and even supplier plants. And then you see people that's laying off staff with regard to the restaurants and dealerships and different industries, and everything is being disrupted. And then you see Sean Fain over there, and he's giving you this agenda of the big companies and the CEOs, and he's saying, listen, they just want to continue to throw rockets into space, and we don't care about what's going on with Elon Musk. Meanwhile, Elon Musk is leveraging this information and what's going on with the UAW and all of the other Japanese and Korean automakers and the German automakers that's down south and out west. And they're saying, listen, look what they members is going through. They messed up out there. It's toe up out there. You don't want to be a part of the union. And so you see all of these different factors that's playing into what it is that we see happening in society. But the question that we have to ask ourselves is, what's true? What's not? What makes sense? And then what's best for me? So this is what I need you to do before we get into this. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also on top of that, make sure that you get into that Teach Hanley 30% off your first order plus a free gift. And are you ready to cook up? Because I want to talk about the pay gap. I want to talk about CEO pay. Hey, buddy. What is going on here? I want to talk about the pay gap, and I want to talk about CEO pay. Let's get into it.
That parking lot is normally full Monday through Friday. Now it's empty due to the fact that we are on strike. We are fighting for what we deserve.
Now, this is a video on a regular basis, what we see happening, and let me help you to understand something. I don't have a dog in a fight, so it's easy for me to be objective, right? I'm not on the side of the CEOs or the automakers because I'm not an automaker CEO. I'm not an executive over in the C-suite. I get no bonus as a result of this at all, right? I have no vested interest in it. I'm not invested in Ford. I'm not invested in GM. I'm not invested in Stellantis. It doesn't mean anything to me. I do have stock in Tesla, so let me be very, very clear about that. But I have no dog in the fight, so it's very easy for me to be objective about what's going on. I'm just going to give you my thoughts, right? So this video specifically, and this is content that's being put out by unions and then different spaces that's attached to the union in order to basically have a conversation about their side of the pay gap and why they're advocating for it and they're fighting for more money from the automakers, okay? So I want to give you the full context of what's going on here. We want to get it from both sides. We want to get it from the executive side. We seen Mary Bear over there stumble because she wasn't situationally aware. She wasn't paying attention to what happened with the Oprah video, and so she didn't know no better. And then you got to pay attention to what's going on over the UAW side, right? The unions, the people. Fight for the people. You know what I seen yesterday? You know what I seen yesterday as I was walking through the airport in Metro Detroit to take my flight over here to Dallas? You know what I seen yesterday? I think Bernie Sanders was in the airport yesterday. With a mask on, walking around, can't be sure. Wasn't really interested in going up to him. He probably had some Secret Service around him somewhere. But I'm pretty sure that Bernie Sanders has been in Metro Detroit advocating for and having a conversation about what is going on with the United Auto Workers. I'm like 98, 99% sure Bernie Sanders was in DTW catching a flight to wherever it is that he was catching a flight to. Wasn't Bernie Sanders over in Detroit advocating for what was going on with the United Auto Workers? And he was rallying with the workers on the picket line and stuff like that. I'm like 1,000% sure I seen Phil LeBurn inside of DTW yesterday, but I can't be sure. I cannot be sure. I'm almost 100% sure I seen him. But let's get into the video.
You can't expect these workers to make cars they can't afford to buy. This is just not about the UAW. This is about all active employees across the United States, because what happens here will happen everywhere.
But it's been a long time coming. It's history in the making.
No deal, no wheels.
For the first time in history, the United Auto Workers Union is striking against all big three automakers at once.
About 12,700 workers committed to a work stoppage at 3 locations.
The UAW is demanding pay raises of more than 40% for its members to match the pay raises of CEOs of the companies. The strike became official overnight when that midnight deadline hit without a deal.
All of you know that there was once a time.
I have not seen this video yet. I have not seen this video yet. That is the honest to God truth on my father's life. On my father's grave. I own everything. I have not watched this video. I am watching it for the first time, just like you guys. You guys sent it to me in my email. It is the first time that I'm watching this video. I have not seen this video yet. You want to put 2 and 2 together or no? You want to put 2 and 2 together or no? Or will we sitting here acting crazy, or you want to put 2 and 2 together or no?
When a union job in the automobile industry was the gold standard for the working class in America. Well, we are determined to bring those days back again.
What do we want? When do we want it? And if we don't get it?
Look at the people that's at the forefront of, do y'all know who this woman is? Do y'all know who this woman is? Huh? Rashida. Y'all know who Rashida is? Do y'all know who she is? You probably not even familiar. You haven't even been watching her in the news, have you? Over the last 4 or 5 years, she coming up, she's leveraging the same fame and the same visibility as AOC. You're not even familiar with her, is you? Are you? You're not familiar with it? You have no, listen, if you think that these politicians are on your side, oh my God, man.
Do we want it? And if we don't get it?
Peers put one man higher than another, and it shouldn't be that way, because you got 2 people that do the same job at the same time. Tier 1 gets to enjoy his family working 40 hours a week. The Tier 2 guy has to work 60 to 70 hours a week just to make the same amount of pay that you're close to the Tier 1 guy. He goes home at night, he can't even hold his baby no more because he can barely hold his hands. He spends time soaking in hot baths because he can barely move.
The big three, they have all them CEOs, they have no idea what it feels like to be able to wake up in pain almost every day, because we work those 6 or 7 days out the week and we have no time to rest our bodies. They don't understand that, and they don't get what it's like trying to.
That, ladies and gentlemen, are people causing a disruption down there on Jefferson Avenue in Woodward, sitting there marching in front of the GM building and causing a problem for this great city that we're building up right in front of the Huntington Place, which is basically hosting the North American International Auto Show as we speak. Just so happened at the strike time, just so happens to be at the time that they can take visibility away from the North American International Auto Show, which is a very subdued event lately because of what's been going on with the pandemic and also with the strike now. And so they're marching right there in Detroit at Hart Plaza. And you see Bernie Sanders and Rashida as a part of the 4 or whatever they was, right? And they're making sure that they're marching for the contract that they want with the Detroit automakers, because they're UAW strong. I'm just giving you the points.
figure out if you're going to be able to eat or put food on your family's table.
See?
The next day. They don't get that at all.
If we signed up for the UAW's request, instead of making money and distributing $75,000 in profit sharing in the last 10 years, we would have lost $15 billion and gone bankrupt by now.
You've seen a 34% pay increase in your salary. You make almost $30 million. Why should your workers not get the same type of pay increases that you're getting?
We think we have a very competitive offer on the table, and that's why we want to get back there and get this done.
Last year, these companies spent $9 billion not to improve the lives of their workers, but to pay for stock buybacks and dividends to make their wealthy stockholders even richer.
Now, I will tell you this, because Bernie Sanders is going to pitch you this, and they're going to say, hey, listen, automakers spent $9 billion on stock buybacks and dividends in order to make their wealthy shareholders even wealthier, right? Now, fair pitch, maybe some half-truths in there, but what's the whole truth? Is that these are publicly traded companies. A publicly traded company is usually a company that's listed basically in a stock exchange. A stock exchange allows for you to then be able to invest in it as a normal everyday person versus it just being privately owned. You have access to invest in a company and do research on it, look at all of their calls and their analyst calls and their profits every quarter and so on and so forth in order to make an informed decision of whether or not you want to invest in a company. Now, here's the other side of that though, right? Regular everyday people that are using their 401ks, people that are investing in a company, every single day, there's regular everyday people that are not necessarily wealthy, but is invested in the interest of that company in order to see it successful. So there's both. There's regular people, there's institutional investors, there's people that put their 401ks or their regular stock brokerage, their brokerage accounts, they're leveraging that in order to invest in a company, hoping that it's profitable, right? There's everyday people that are invested in these companies. It's anybody that is a shareholder in the company. Right? The goal is to bring more value by making a company profitable, even more profitable. So you raise the stock price and you raise the amount that they then start to distribute as a dividend. A dividend basically being that quarterly amount that goes into your bank account based off of how many shares that you own. So if I own 10 shares, then I get whatever the dividend payment for that quarter is times 10. Okay? So stock buybacks is meant to increase the value of the company by having less shares outstanding on the market. All right, let me break it down from this perspective. Let's say for a general perspective that the company is valued at, your company is valued at $1 million, okay? And there's 1,000 shares, basically dividing that up, and then all those shares multiplied, then substantiates the valuation of the company. So you got 1,000 shares, you divide that 1,000 into the million, right? And that's how many shares you have outstanding. Now, what is one of the ways that you can raise the valuation of other people's shares? Well, it's a lot of different ways that they can do it, right? They can do stock buybacks. They can then distribute the profits over into the investors of the company. So basically they get a share of the profits depending on what that dividend is, right? And so it's a lot of ways that they can increase the value of the company, right? The company becomes more profitable, and so thus the multiples by which the company is valued at then increases, right? You can do stock splits and then make it more accessible to more people. And there's a lot of different ways that companies become more valuable, but it all comes back down to this. Is the company profitable to begin with? And then can they start to redistribute those profits back over into the shareholders? So stock buybacks just increases the value of the company. If you have a share in that, right? You got an ESPP plan, an employee stock purchase plan. You are a white collar worker or you're a software engineer and you negotiate a part of your pay package to be equity in the company, meaning that they give you stock valuation instead of giving you a paycheck or giving you a bonus, or they give you some combination of both. You get what your value is that you contribute into the company. It's not just based off of just what you negotiate. It's based off of the value that you add into the company. So CEOs decide that they want to negotiate not to get a check, because they also want the tax benefits to come along with it. They don't want to have to pay an egregious amount of taxes. They'd rather tie their compensation to the performance of the company. Now, why would the shareholders and why would the board then allow for the CEOs to do that? Why would the shareholders and the board allow for the CEOs to do that? Why would they negotiate their pay package? Because they have executive recruitment teams. They go and look for the best of the people that they think can steer the company in the right direction. They need them to do the right thing for the company in order for them to continue to remain profitable. The board is basically made up of people that have a vested interest in the company. They are the ones that give the CEOs their job. It's not the CEOs. They don't get themselves a job. They don't own the company. They answer to the board of directors, right? They answer to the shareholders. They answer to whoever it is owns the shares outstanding. So why would they then pay them such an egregious amount of money? Think about it. Why would the board give the CEOs or the executive team or whoever it is that they're moving through the company, why would they give them so much money? Why would they give them so much equity in the company? Ask yourself that question, right? As we continue to have this conversation, and I'm going to play the video. But before I play the video, let me show you what executive compensation is looking like across the board. This is the 10 highest paid CEOs according to CNBC over the last year in the United States of America, and some of them pulling over $200 million a year. Now, on average, the automaker CEOs, right, are nothing compared to Elon Musk. Elon Musk, his entire portfolio, his entire net worth is largely tied to the performance of Tesla. So when Tesla falls, or Tesla has an issue, or Tesla has a recall, or people like to overregulate, or they get sued, or then investors start to sour on Tesla, Elon Musk could literally lose $1 billion, $2 billion, $3 billion, $4 billion in net worth overnight as a result of the company performance going down or the valuation of the company going down. That's how he got so rich, is that his compensation is largely tied to the performance of the stock. And why would the shareholders do that? Why would the board of directors do that at all? Come on, I need you to pay attention. Pay attention. Because the only thing you're looking at is how much you make per hour. The only thing you're looking at is how much you make per year. The only thing you're looking at is how much you got to pay in taxes. I need you to understand executive compensation so that you can then start to make more informed decisions on a career path and how it is that you start to do things from a business perspective. Why would the shareholders, why would the board give them so much money? Why would they give them so much money? Why, when we go through this article of the top 10 highest paid CEOs, Tim Cook at Apple, no Apple employee is sitting there whining about the pay of Apple. You know why? It's because a lot of their compensation is largely tied to the performance of the company also, and so they need people to do the thing that's in the best interest of the company. Ask any software engineer how many shares that they get awarded every year. How much compensation they get awarded every year. When can they sell it? Ask anybody that's a part of the startup why they're willing to take a lower base salary in order to possibly go public, do an IPO, an initial public offering with that company. You know why? Because when Twitter went public, everybody got rich. When Facebook went public, everybody got rich. Whoever it was that was a part of that whole ecosystem, everybody got rich because they had a share in the company. And so what you see happening with auto workers is that the UAW negotiated profit sharing. So basically they said, listen, at the end of the year, based off of the profitability of the company, we want to share in the profits, because they wasn't getting that before. And so they reinstituted profit sharing once the company started to become successful again in order to try to make sure that they appeased the union. They wanted the people to have a vested interest in the company becoming successful. The more money that the company makes, the more profit sharing you get. It's not entirely tied to how much you make per hour. So that's why employees over at within the UAW, over at Ford, Chrysler, and GM, they get profit sharing checks now because they have a vested interest in seeing the company successful. But what they didn't negotiate is equity into the company. Now, you can convert that money over into profit sharing, but you can't necessarily be awarded the equity. And what happens is the union gets their union dues out of your money, and you immediately get taxed at the highest tax rate as a result of it. So the thing that, first of all, the union members should be going to the table with is saying, listen, we don't want checks with regard to profit sharing anymore. We want checks with regard to equity in the company. That way we can defer the amount of money that we have to pay in taxes. We're not having to pay the union their union dues out of our checks, And on top of that, we don't have to pay it at the highest tax rate because they automatically tax you at the highest tax rate when you get that profit sharing check. You get that $10,000 check, you get that $20,000 check, you get that $15,000 check, you automatically going to be giving 33% over into the federal government. CEOs don't do that. Their compensation is largely tied to the equity that they get. And then when the company continues to go up in value, eventually when they have to sell it, which was one of the reasons why Elon Musk bought Twitter, because he had to divest himself, he had to get rid of the shares in order to then, because they had vested so much, but they had made so much money because the value of the company had went up so high, his compensation was largely tied to the success of the company. So now, when the board members come through and they say, listen, we're going to give you X amount of shares, that'll be valued at X, depending on your performance of the company. That means that they're incentivized to work their ass off, eat, sleep, breathe the company, because they know that their compensation is largely going to be tied to how well the shareholders do. You got a stake in it, I got a stake in it. However well we do is what we all going to profit as a result of. The first thing that the union members should have went to the UAW and said is, listen, we want equity in the company. We don't necessarily want profit sharing checks, so that we all can share in the profitability of the company. Then everybody's pay will be tied to the greatness of the company. Don't you know that Tesla employees, even the ones that's on the floor, get equity into the company? Listen, if you're not getting it, you're going to have to replay this and slow it down. Don't you know that Tesla employees, even the ones that's working on the factory floor, a large part of their performance and how much they get paid is tied into the equity of the company? If you're not a part of the Patreon, you're not a part of the Bag Chasers, please miss me with this Anton slow down, see students' perspective. I want you to tie into the Patreon. Make sure that you tap in so we can have this conversation more in depth. Let's look at the 10 highest paid CEOs in the United States of America. Steven Schwartzman, last year for Blackstone, made $253 million. Alphabet CEO. What is Alphabet? It's Google. $226 million. Stephen Scher, Hertz, $182 million. Peloton CEO. Why? Because he has a vested interest in the company. He basically has compensation that's largely tied to the equity of the stock. $168 million. Guess what? They don't even substantiate how much they get paid until they sell. Michael Rapino for Live Nation. Oh, you mean all of those concert tickets that y'all continue to buy all the time? $139 million he made last year. Oracle CEO, $138 million. Douglas Ingram. I don't even know what Sarepta Therapeutics is, but he made $125 million. Pinterest CEO. Y'all don't even like Pinterest. When the last time you went on Pinterest other than to steal a picture? $123 million. Don't you know that Apple is the highest valued company in the world in the trillions of dollars? And Tim Cook's compensation is largely tied to the profitability of the company. And he not even first. He made $99 million last year. So the top 10 CEOs all collectively made billions. Collectively, all together made billions last year. Why? Because it's largely literally tied to the performance of the company. All tied to the performance of the company. This is not a secret. This is information that you choose not to participate in because you don't want to educate yourself. Look, for Bill Reddy, who took at the helm of Pinterest in June 2022, about $101 million of his pay came from stock options, which was awarded in connection with his hiring last year, the Wall Street Journal reports. A Pinterest spokesman told the newspaper that Reddy shouldn't have received any additional equity in the first 4 years on the job. You want to continue over into this? You want to start to understand how their compensation is tied to the company? When Mary Barra said that, everybody just took it at face value and they ran with it with a bunch of clips. But they didn't look to understand the context by which she was actually communicating with you. When she said 92% of my pay package is tied to the equity in the company, tied to the performance of the company, this is what she was breaking down. This is what she was breaking down. Executive salaries, which is nothing. Most of the time, their salaries is just in the hundreds of thousands. It's not even in the millions. Bonuses, perks, stock options, other factors. You know what that means? That means it's called a total compensation package. A total compensation package. That's what it is. All right. So when you see this video, and now that you have a little bit more information on how it is that you can educate yourself on what executive compensation looks like, it's going to start to hit a little bit different as far as the things that they telling y'all to advocate for and what Bernie Sanders is pitching to you.
That parking
just to make the same amount of pay that you're close to the tier 1 guy. He goes home at night, he can't even hold his baby no more because he can barely hold his hands. He spends time soaking in hot baths because he can barely move.
The big three, they have all them CEOs, they have no idea what it feels like to be able to wake up in pain almost every day because we work those 6 or 7 days out the week and we have no time to rest our bodies. They don't understand that, and they don't get what it's like trying to figure out if you're going to be able to eat or put food on your family's table the next day. They don't get that at all.
If we signed up for the UAW,
That's why we want to get back there and get this done.
Last year, these companies spent $9 billion not to improve the lives of their workers, but to pay for stock buybacks and dividends to make their wealthy stockholders even richer. Meanwhile, the average wage for American auto workers has decreased by 30% after adjusting for...
Somebody says somebody in the chat had a disagreement. I got you.
Inflation. Do you want to know why you're out on strike right now? That's the reason.
Without our labor, this country couldn't function. They say that we're asking for too much, but really it's the CEOs and the corporate leaders that are having too much. There's no reason that they should be making.
You can never, ever tie your compensation package based off of what you see somebody else making. That's the surest way for you to shoot yourself in the foot. So Kev, somebody said Kev had a disagreement. Don't worry about it, Kev. I dropped the link in the chat for you to be able to come up here. You don't even have to get on camera. If you just want to get a phone call and you just want to have a conversation off the camera, you're more than welcome to do so. I opened up the chat for anybody that disagree with me. Feel free to go be able to call in.
Making, 300-400 times more than what I make or what my union brothers and sisters make. Is your time really worth 300 or 400 times more?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, every single person should understand exactly what their time is worth. Let me give you the calculation. I tell this to my bag chasers all the time. How much you make per year divided by 8,760. That's how much your time is worth. How much you make per year divided by 8,760. That's how much your time is worth. If you make $100,000 a year, your time is worth somewhere, I believe, $11.60 an hour. That's how much you worth when you're sleeping. That's how much you make when you're awake. That's how much you make when you're brushing your teeth. That's how much you make when you're spending your time with people that don't add value into your life. I dropped the link in the chat for anybody that disagree with me. Educate me. I'm open to it. Educate me. I'm open to it. I don't want to be right by myself. I'm giving the game based off of my own understanding and life experiences. Please help me to understand where I'm wrong. Let me drop the link in the chat for you one more time.
You really work 300 or 400 times harder than we do? No, you don't.
Every human being wants to provide a better life for their family. That's what we work for. That's what we go to work every day for. So a 40% raise, that would finally make us feel like what we're doing is actually respected.
Since 1948, COLA.
And you do not have to. You do not have to be on camera. You don't have to be on camera if you want to come up here and help me to understand, or you have a disagreement with anything that I said today, especially with regard to this.
The cost of living adjustment has been part of every single UAW contract until 2009. You all took the biggest hit. Plant closures destroyed communities. You guys got rid of coal. You did everything you were supposed to do so you can keep them afloat. And now that you're all struggling, our retirees are struggling, now they want to turn their backs to you.
And y'all gonna let this woman talk y'all into... I don't see nobody in the back. Where's everybody else that wanted to cam up? I don't see nobody in the back that want to have a conversation. Where's everybody that disagree with me? Feel free. You do not even have to be on camera if you do not want to. Feel free to come onto the platform and help me to understand where I'm wrong.
Oh, they give themselves 300 to 4 times more in pay.
And they don't give themselves anything. Every piece of compensation has to be negotiated and it's approved by the board. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. 100%. Listen, let me tell you something. Do y'all know how much the CEO of Ford made? Do y'all know how much the CEO of Ford made back in 2008 when the crisis hit? Alan Mulally, I think that was his name. Back when all of the other automakers was crashing out, do y'all know what the CEO of Ford made? Back in 2014, here, let me pull it up for you. I'm going to pull it up on you on CNN Business. Let me share my screen with you really quickly, and then I'm going to bring you up. For anybody that disagree with me, I'm going to bring you up. Alan Mulally left with a nearly $300 million nest egg and Ford options and shares in his 8 years at the automaker when Chrysler and GM was going bankrupt. Chrysler and GM was going bankrupt, and he steered them through. I think he was a former Boeing executive, and he was rewarded for not only steering them through not going through bankruptcy, but also making sure that they were successful going forward and clearing the path for continuing to hire people back, right, and creating more jobs and not going through the same thing that Chrysler and GM went through, and maintaining the main shareholders' interest in the company instead of filing for bankruptcy. He left with nearly $300 million in his 8 years steering that company through bankruptcy. And that was during the crisis. That was during the crisis. That's a fact, though. All right, let me see if I can get y'all up here. I'm curious as to what you got to say. Wood, you want to be on camera or off camera? Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Thumbs up on camera. You want to be on camera? Okay, I got you. I'm going to be reading Super Chat shortly. Give me a second. What up, big dog?
What up, Anton? How you doing, bro?
Slow motion, my friend. What's the word?
Man,
well, first and foremost,
man, I'm a big fan, man. I'm a big fan.
Thank you for coming up on the platform, my friend. What are your thoughts? What do you disagree with?
Man, I think them folks should get what they want. I think they should get what they want. I think they deserve it, man. I mean, if what they saying is true, working 7 days a week, that shit ain't easy. That shit
they
ain't
get
easy.
overtime
Like,
pay for that.
I know, but
anything over 40 hours is time and a half. Anything on Sunday is double time.
You still gotta take in the fact that it's a lot of time you lost. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of time you lost.
How do you lose time for what you're being compensated for? Your time, you're not working for free.
Now you're not working for free, but you know what I'm saying? Shit. I mean, 7 days a week. I mean, on the end of that 7 day, you probably gonna sleep the rest of that day, and then come the next day you right back at work.
Then go find another job.
Man, it ain't. I mean, it ain't. I don't know what their situation is.
If you don't like your working conditions, who's stopping you in this country from going to get another job? If you don't like being compensated, why did you listen? When you joined that company and HR sat down with you, first of all, let's be clear.
What if it was 7 days?
Hold on. I'm gonna let you cook. Let's not forget where we came from. All right, because a lot of us really forget that we was fucked up and we was happy to get that goddamn job when we first got there. Right? Our homies got us in. We barely passed the drug test. We had to stay clean. We knew that the drug test was coming up. We was pissing. We might have even finessed and got somebody else's piss to get in there. We was happy because we got some benefits. We got that job. We couldn't wait to work that overtime because we wanted that Dodge Challenger and Charger. And we knew we was going to get the family and friends discount as a result of it, right? So we get the job, right? And then all of a sudden we become entitled because we say, I can't believe that y'all working us like this. At what point during the HR process, when you signed up for that position, when you was desperate for a job in the first place in order to feed your family, did you switch over and become entitled, and then they forced you to sign up for something and you didn't agree to what it is that you signed up for? You knew you was going to be working overtime. You knew it was time and a half. You knew it was double time on Sunday. You knew you was getting triple time on holidays. At what point did they finesse you as far as your compensation package and tell you something that you wasn't supposed to get?
I mean, I'm just saying, like, okay, it could have been like they might not have been working 7 days right off the rip. They could have been working like 5,
They
You
didn't.
know, the
They didn't
6 day.
explain to you that it was a possibility for overtime 7 days a week.
I don't know. I'm not a UAW member. All I know, look, let me cook real quick. Okay.
Okay, I got you. You
All
got
right.
it.
Okay, look. Okay, maybe they went to 7 days, you know what I'm saying, on the back end, like later on. Like maybe somebody them they've been working there, 5, 6 years, then they go to 7 days. They've been cool with the 5, the extra day, the 6 day is an option day. You know what I'm saying? You're not forced, you know what I'm saying? If you want to come and get it, you know what it is. You know what I'm saying? I work for you know what I'm saying, I work for the Browns. So you know what I'm saying, I know what it is. You know what I'm saying? I know what that 6 day is. You know what I'm saying? That's you come in, hey, it's time and a half. You're gonna get some extra money. You know what I'm saying? But
That's bags.
like,
That's bag chasing
like,
right there.
yeah,
So
yeah.
instead of you getting 32 an hour as an auto worker, now you getting almost $50 an hour.
It ain't there yet. It ain't there yet. It's coming. It ain't coming,
Woo!
but
And on
it ain't there
Sundays,
yet.
listen, on Sundays, you're getting $64 an hour. And on holidays, you get $96 an hour.
Man, it's up there. It's up there. Okay, but look, I'm gonna put it like this. You know what I'm saying? You gotta folks maybe, you know what I'm saying, like back when I started, man, my supervisor, you know what I'm saying, he took me to lunch. He said, hey man, you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, this job will pay you well, you know what I'm saying, the job will take care of your family, you know what I'm saying, you may make it to the basketball game one night. He said the next week you might not make it. It's gonna be a lot of shit you gonna make, it's gonna be a lot of shit
We
you
got
don't
move
make.
over to
You
the
know what I'm
middle of the
saying?
camera. You on the side for some reason. Can you move
Okay,
your?
okay, yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, and so he said, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of shit you gonna make. It's a lot of shit you gonna miss. You know what I'm saying? You gotta this a sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna get off at 4 o'clock every day. This ain't the job for you. You know what I'm saying? You gotta understand that this what you signing up for. You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? Maybe everybody ain't did that. Maybe their union brothers didn't tell them that when they came to
That's what the
lunch
HR.
to lunch table.
Listen, I went through the process. When you go into the local 600, right? The union members give you a union package. The HR bring in the union members in order to explain it to you. They help you to understand all of your benefits, what you're gonna be working, so on and so forth, right? And you also got 90 days, right, before you even really become an official employee to quit if you don't want to, and you don't
We
have to
got
stay
30.
there even after that.
We got 30 days. We got 30 days. You got a 30-day qualifying period. They'll
Oh
fire
wow,
your ass
y'all
for
even
anything.
better. That's even doper.
They can fire you for anything, but you're gonna have to work in that warehouse. You know what I'm saying? Shit, it used to
You
be
got to pay your dues.
it ain't like it was back in the day. You only had one shift. You know what I'm saying? Maybe 3.5 hours. You know what I'm saying? Making 8.50, 9.50, $10 an hour. You know what I'm saying? That's 21. You know, and that's new. You know what I'm saying? They making a bag now. Shit, they making a bag now, and they doing 2 shifts.
But you are not helping me to understand why they so deprived though.
All I'm saying is, I don't like the 7 day work week. I don't like the 7 day work week. I feel them on that. I don't know about going all the way down to 32. You know what I'm saying? Because I want the 40. I want the 50. You know what I'm saying? That's how I take care of what I need to take care of. You know what I'm saying? So I can put shit aside. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to put something aside. Because if you just, you know what I'm saying? If you just going on the bare minimum, you know what I'm saying? You always gonna be dependent on them.
Let me
You know what
ask
I'm
you a
saying?
question. If they tied your compensation, if they said, listen, we want to switch it up. However much you make per hour, we want to lower that. We want to cut it in half. Oh, you gotta wait. You saying no?
Okay. Let you
You ain't
cook.
even
Let you
heard the
cook. Go
pitch
ahead. Go
yet.
ahead. Go ahead. Yeah. Go
So
ahead.
you want to cut your pay in half, right? But
Yeah.
then on the back end, at the end of the year, we gonna give you that compensation. Actually, we gonna double that compensation in stock options. Would you rather do that?
Nah, I wouldn't, man. Because I'm not. Because if I get stock, I'm not selling it. I don't want to sell it. You know what I'm saying?
No,
I
no, no. But
mean
hold
that.
on, wait. You missing it. I'm gonna give you the pitch one more time. All right. I want you to take half and what you make per hour, but I'm gonna give you double what you would have made in stock options at the end of the year. And one at end of the year, every year you get stock options. You want that?
It depend on if they got the penalty on it.
Ain't no penalty.
3 year,
Ain't no
if they got the
well,
3 year hold on it.
ain't no penalties. You can sell it whenever you want to sell it.
I mean that sound cool. It sound cool, but I mean we ain't never got no stock options. I pay for my own stock.
I'm new CEO of the Brown.
Mm, I don't know, man. I had to run them numbers, man. Them numbers. I gotta see the numbers because you know what I'm saying. At the end of
I
the
just
day,
told you the numbers.
I know you told me the numbers, but at the end of the day, I want the cash money too. I'd rather have the cash money and then pay for my own stock.
Exactly. You just proved my point. You just proved my point. You proved the point as to why executive compensation is what it is versus what worker compensation is what it is. And the UAW and the Teamsters know that y'all not going for that because most people need their cash up front. And very few people can live the lifestyle or reduce their lifestyle to do the thing that's going to be best for them long term. That's 10 times better for you long term. You went 10 times over, taking half the pay, but taking extensively more when it comes to the equity in the company. But then your compensation is tied to the performance of the company, but you won't do it.
But see, they get them supervisors the stock options, man. They get that to them.
You
know what I'm saying?
We talking to you. We not
I'm
worried about no supervisors. We ain't worried about nothing. I gave you the pitch.
Nah, man. I need the bread, man. I need the bread, and I can make my own investments.
Exactly.
I can make my own investments.
Exactly.
If anything,
That's exactly my point.
I join the bag chasers and get some game from you,
Uh-huh.
and we're gonna go from there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. All right, I'm with you.
Cause I got stock. I got 401k.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm saying? Shit, I'd rather make my own plays.
I got you. Okay. Make sure you join the Patreon. I'm rocking with you. All right, big
Hey,
dog. I appreciate you. Got anything else you want?
I stand with the union, man. I stand with the union, man. Y'all, I don't know about the 7 days, but man, they need something, man. They need some increases because they've been working through COVID just like we have. So you know what I'm saying? We needed that paper.
Okay.
Straight up.
All right, I'm with you. Thank you, my friend. You got anything else you want to share with the people?
Man, hey, be about y'all business, man, because shit, it's hard out here. It's hard out here. Don't get it twisted.
Hey, man, I appreciate you for coming up, big dog. Thank you, big bro.
All right, bet.
All right, bye.
Yeah.
Did I prove my point or did I prove my point? Do I need to go into how I prove my point or why my point is valid versus what it is that they're pitching to y'all and why they keep protesting with y'all and why they keep doing these things in order to keep you guys down, but you're not really making a decision that's in your best interest? Are we now on the same page? Now do you see why I have this show on a regular basis and why I like to interact with the chat? Because see, anybody can present the information to you. Anybody could just react to a video. Very few people are able to articulate themselves in a way in which you can understand it on why you're supposed to do the thing in your own best interest. If you missed it, just say you missed it. If you missed it, just say you missed it. Don't worry about it. We live stream every single morning. We're going to be back tomorrow morning to have the same conversation, but in a different format, using a different reference point until you get it. One thing is for sure. I promise you this. I'm going to beat it in your head until you get it. This is the No Man Left Behind. I might have to change the name of this show to the No Man Left Behind Show. The No Man Left Behind Show. You know why? Because I don't know where you are in your journey. I don't know where it is that you came from. I don't know where it is that you're going. I don't know what industry you in. Everybody is on their own individual path. But I know one thing is for sure, and two things is for certain. I'm going to make sure that I bring every single soldier up with me. We might have some disagreements. It may be some furniture moving here and there. We might be moving a certain type of way. But one thing is for sure and two things is for certain. I'm definitely going to make sure that I beat it in your head until you get it. And we might be having some disagreements. I might learn something that's different from what it is that I'm presenting to you. I might get some new information that may change my perspective. I'm open to that. I love learning new things. The minute that you stop learning new things is the minute that you stop growing. I'm always open to hearing from other people's perspective, which is one of the reasons why I let y'all up on the show. Listen, but the one thing that you're not going to do if you didn't cam up, I'm going to do this more often. If you didn't cam up and you didn't explain and articulate your point and substantiate your argument, I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to hear from you. Prepare yourself for battle. Prepare yourself for battle. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats and I'm going to get y'all up out of here for the day. Shout out to Spencer Campbell in the building. Says, good morning, Anton. I'm a UAW member. I personally hate their politics. Everything you said is 100% facts. As a bag chaser, I put every penny of my profits of my profit sharing into my 401k. They are behind the times in negotiations. And one of the benefits of putting everything that you can inside of your 401k is that you actually defer the amount of taxes that you pay in order to make sure that you're continuing to bring up your net worth. Shout out to you, Spencer Campbell. We know you a bag chaser. Let me go ahead and get the round of applause for the bag chaser. We know Spencer is a bag chaser. Shout out to the bag chasers and shout out to Spencer Campbell. Shout out to all of my UAW members. J Dubs is in the building and says, why are we counting the CEO coins and not our own? These unions don't even break it down to their membership the way that you do. Some of these unions are lying to their membership. I love your show, bro. Shout out to you. Thank you, my friend, for holding me down, J Dubs. I appreciate you. My show is free. It's no reason why they shouldn't be. We got a lot of UAW members that's out here rocking with me. Shout out to all of the UAW members. DJ Ken says, get your money, man. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, my dog. I appreciate you. V. Scott is in the building. Shout out to my dog Vern. Says, people want to be part owners of sports teams and liquor companies, but not part owners of the company that they give their 40 hours a week to. Because they don't want to have a vested interest in seeing a company successful, which would then pour into whether or not they're going to be more successful. Ain't that crazy? Man, it's crazy out here. Shout out to everybody that hold me down. Listen, if you did not tune in today and you did not cam up today, you will have your opportunity tomorrow. I guarantee you I'm going to be live streaming tomorrow. Same time, and we're going to continue to get this money. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody that hold me down. Shout out to everybody that participate on this platform. We all have this conversation because we want to make sure that we're doing the thing that's in our own best interest. I love you. I appreciate you. I got to get ready for tonight, but I need you to do me one more favor before we get up out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be successful by ourselves. You guys, shout out to Fan. I see Fan in the chat. You guys are doing the work. You just taking the information that we giving you and you parsing it out for yourself so that you can make a more informed decision. But we definitely don't want to be successful. We don't want to be rich by ourselves. Shout out to Brock. Brock is in the building. He says, Pass the Love offering Rummingham stock option. Please, my portfolio and positions can always be adjusted accordingly if and when need be. I appreciate you, Brock. Thank you to all of my friends and family. Make sure that you tune in. We might be doing a late live stream tonight, but I promise you, we're gonna be running up the checks. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm gonna holler at you guys later. Peace.